Today on CTV News at 5 cases of E. coli. Are they linked to tainted beef? Plus, police tried to track down this man after an armed robbery. And experts weigh in on vandalism allegations and possible historic significance of the Lone Rock.
CTV News with Alicia Fieldberg.
Good afternoon. There's growing concern today about tainted ground beef after health officials confirmed they're investigating 5 cases of E. coli in the province. Now, we've learned one case may be a 4-year-old girl who's seriously ill in Calgary Children's Hospital. The news comes as ground beef recall has expanded yet again. The recall was first issued on Monday after Edmonton's XL Foods revealed potential E. coli contamination. The recall has grown every day since. It now includes nearly every major grocery chain. All the stores sold repackaged ground beef and patties by Ready Food Solutions in Leduc. The little girl in hospital is 4-year-old Sarah Demoskoff. Her family tells us she's on dialysis, having suffered kidney failure after eating recalled beef. Her relatives say health officials have confirmed to them that she is the only confirmed E. coli case linked to this recall. Alberta Health Services will only say they're investigating the link. XL Foods warns everyone to throw out any ground beef they may have in their home. Police are asking for help to track down a suspect in an armed robbery. Officers released this surveillance image you see right here of a white man who robbed a store in the 700 block of 23rd Street North. Just before 6:30 Wednesday night, the man entered the store, pulled a handgun, and said he was robbing the store. He left with cash and narcotics. No one was injured. The suspect is described as about 40 to 50 years old with a slender build and just over 6 feet tall. He has brown hair and was wearing glasses, a black cap, and was carrying a black backpack. If you recognize the man, you're asked to call police or Crime Stoppers. The village of Carmangay will hold one last goodbye ceremony tonight for the Little Bow Continuing Care Centre. A candlelight vigil will be held at 7 o'clock tonight to mark the closure. Plans to shut down the facility were announced in July despite numerous attempts to block the closure or try to save it. The doors officially shut yesterday. Family members say it's hard to let go of a place that offered exactly what the community needs.
You can't cookie cut with Alzheimer's and dementia. They require specialized, different care. They do require one-on-one time. They do require intensive care. And Alberta Health just doesn't seem to want to do that anymore, and that's a shame.
And the vigil starts tonight at 7. And Dory's in with weather, and we've had a trend of warm, sunny days. Will this continue, Dory?
The short answer is absolutely. It definitely will. We have a huge area of high pressure. You'll see it on the satellite map when we get into the body of the weathercast. It's just dominating much of Western Canada, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So enjoy it while it's still here, because it's going to be here for a few more days. I'll have all the details coming up in a couple of minutes.
Thanks, Dory. 2 men charged in connection with a July murder made another appearance in Lethbridge Provincial Court. 25-year-old Kelsey Prairie Chicken and 27-year-old Brandon James Brown were charged with second-degree murder after the death of Michael Arthur Powell. His body was found in a Southside apartment July 24th. Autopsy results showed he died of blunt force trauma. Police said Powell and 2 acquaintances were visiting the home and got into a dispute. Prairie Chicken is being held in jail in Calgary, while Brown is at the Lethbridge Correctional Centre. This case has been adjourned to early October. It's off to the alternative measures program for one of the men charged in what regional police officers called the largest outdoor grow-op in the city's history. In the backyard of a home, officers found more than 1,600 plants worth $800,000. They came across a grow-op while checking a resident's court-ordered curfew. Police also found harvested marijuana, cash, and 6 grams of cannabis resin. Officers say resin is highly combustible and could have caused a fire or explosion. The plants were hidden amongst the trees and bushes. Brent Osco was referred to the Alternative Measures Program. He'll be back in court on December 20th. The co-accused will appear before a judge on October 5th. Two men are recounting their experience after escaping a helicopter crash near Pincher Creek with only minor injuries. Their helicopter hit a power line and went down Wednesday afternoon in a pasture near Cowley. The downed power line then started a grass fire. EMS responded and managed to get the fire under control quickly. The pilot and passenger came from Calgary to go fishing, and they were taking off when they hooked the power line. Pincher Creek Fire Chief Dave Cox says crews were thankful to discover the men were shaken up but not seriously hurt.
The helicopter hit the line and then kind of did a bit of an arc to the left, hit the ground and probably skidded about 400 feet to where it come to rest. The pilots and the passenger were our first concern to make sure that, they checked them out for injuries, and they were actually very minor. They have a little bit of bruising and a sore ankle.
RCMP and Transport Canada are investigating the crash. Researchers from the Royal Alberta Museum have completed their investigation into alleged vandalism at a cultural site south of Fort Macleod. The report says there's no evidence of First Nations activity on a rock, and while there are clear signs of drilling activity, they don't think it happened recently or was an act of vandalism. Locals call it the Lone Rock, although it's also known as the Glenwood Erratic. Stan Knowlton believes the site was once used for ceremonial or religious purposes. He felt there was evidence that someone had used acid, a power washer, or a drill to destroy the etchings on top of the rock, but archaeologists from Edmonton have come to a different conclusion. They failed to find evidence of Aboriginal markings and believe any discoloration is natural.
Based on their visit yesterday, there's no evidence of any First Nations activity on the top of that rock. There is some discoloration, red markings on the surface, but those are consistent with oxidation of iron that would occur in, the depressions in the rock that catch rainwater and snowmelt. There is clear evidence of drilling activity, but he feels that's actually rock sampling as opposed to vandalism.
The research team concluded the drilling did not happen recently and may be connected to core samplings done to determine the age of rocks that were deposited on the prairies during the Ice Age. The researchers took a number of photographs and plan to continue their analysis back at the museum. Alberta's Métis are going back to court for the third time over hunting rights in southern Alberta. Members of the Métis Nation of Alberta staged community hunts to force the issue into court, and the Crown eventually proceeded with a case against Gary Hersecorn, who shot a deer in the Cypress Hills in 2007. Hersecorn was charged with hunting out of season and illegal possession of wildlife. He claims a constitutional right to hunt for food out of season. The matter was appealed in June 2011, and the provincial court decision was upheld last November. The group will ask for another appeal in Calgary on February 7th. A new business centre in the city is growing faster than expected. Economic Development Lethbridge introduced 4 new companies that have decided to move into the Tech Connect building in North Lethbridge. That means 57% of the office space has now been filled, exceeding the first-year business goals for the centre. The new tenants say the facility is providing some valuable business connections they wouldn't get if they were operating out of a separate office.
We're growing fast. We're trying to establish, our 2- and 3-year plan. We've been doubling and tripling business moving forward. We've got the flexibility here to access additional office space, the boardroom facilities. We've got the technology support. So it's just an excellent place for a rapidly growing company.
Here we get to bring our ideas, talk about it in an informal setting, and it's not in a sales pitch atmosphere. It's more of an incubation. What can we make better with all the tools available sort of atmosphere? And so that's what we really appreciate being in here for.
The centre has an information and communication technologies focus with specific emphasis on geospatial imaging. A warning today that climate change may be the biggest challenge that humanity has ever faced, and it's time we start adapting. The warning came at the Southern Alberta Council of Public Affairs. Sandy Aberdeen has been studying environmental management for almost 2 decades. He says it's time to put climate change debate behind us and start making adjustments to the way we live. He says people don't need to do everything, but everyone can do something.
We need to learn how to adapt to our crops, need to be perhaps a little bit more biodiverse. We need to be growing everywhere, rooftops and on walls. everywhere that we can grow, and we need to stop wasting food. 30% of the food that we purchase goes to waste. So there are a lot of low-tech, easy things that we can do.
Aberdeen says food access and stability will be a major issue in the future. There are predictions that world food prices could jump by between 50 to 90% in just over a decade because of the impacts of climate change. Lethbridge Public Library is spreading the word about a festival celebrating spoken, written, and sung words. Lethbridge's Word on the Street Festival is back for a second year and will include more activities and entertainers. The street outside the library's main branch will be closed off while authors, dancers, musicians, and poets entertain guests. Organizers say the best part is it's all free, and it's a great opportunity to meet some amazing Canadian talent.
It's a great opportunity for the library to be involved not only in the arts community, but to bring our whole community here to the library to celebrate that. We have even more authors coming in this year than last year, and we've got an even wider selection of exhibitors.
The Word on the Street Festival runs from 11 until 5 on Sunday outside the main branch of the Lethbridge Public Library. And now let's take a look at the markets.